That's why I guess joy is so important to me as a charism of living the faith, because if it's authentic, if you really enjoy what you're doing, if that love of God is touching your life, then it is going to show. And I could see it, and it was real. And I said, I could do that, and I'd like to do that.
We're so honored today to have Bishop Robert Brennan with us, and you won't believe it, Bishop, but I saw you when you made your TV appearance when you were named the Bishop of Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, yes.
I did. I was so glad to welcome you. Tell me, what does it feel to be transferred from New York to Columbus, Ohio?
Well, Mother, it really was quite a change for me, because I had spent all of my life on Long Island. Everything I did when I went to college, everything was right there on the island. I was born in the Bronx, but by and large grew up on Long Island. So I was 57 years old and finally moving to a new state and a new church. But it was thoroughly exciting. Columbus is so varied with city life, rural life, so many new things for me.
That's great. I loved it because when I saw the interview, you seemed so positive about it. I think I would have been in tears, to spend a whole life in New York and then, go. But anyway, we're so blessed to have you there. And tell me, I always like to know, how did you receive the message to become the bishop?
Well, it's funny. I was on my way to a parish on Long Island. It was in January, the middle of January. And in fact, the next day I was leaving to go to Panama for World Youth Day. We had two or three large pilgrimage groups going from Long Island to World Youth Day. And I was set to leave on Sunday morning. And I think they had told the nuncio that, so he called me Saturday afternoon as I was on my way to this parish. And I was on the Long Island Expressway, and he calls and he says, Bishop, are you alone? You say, uh-oh. And I said, I am. And then he said, well, are you driving? And I said, yes. Do you need to pull over? And I said, oh, we're long past that, Your Excellency.
So you suspect?
Well, once he called, I said, I don't think he was calling just to say hello.
Especially all these questions.
That's right.
Yeah.
But he said, the Holy Father wants you to go to Columbus. He said, it's a very important diocese, and it has the Josephinum there. And I have to confess, I had heard vaguely about the Josephinum, but I didn't know anything about it. So I said, oh, that's good. So that was the call, and it was an exciting time, and it was Columbus is just a wonderful place to be, and so much. It's a great place to live, but the faith is so alive, Mother. I take no credit for this, but I walked into a church that is so vibrant, with young people, young adults, so pleased. The sisters had already been there at St. Michael's, and so we had the presence of the Dominican sisters of Mary, Mother of the Eucharist. There's just so many facets of Catholic life in the Diocese of Columbus.
Well, you've been so good to our sisters, and Sister sent me the tape she made of you greeting all the families coming into the school because they can't because of COVID.
That's right.
But that was so beautiful. She was so excited about that. So,
well, it was somewhat self-serving. I mean, it was a good thing to do, I think, but after being so cooped up, and then greeting, even when I started to do things again, go out, it seemed so artificial. You couldn't really have any contact with people. But we came up with the idea of these drop-offs, as the parents were dropping the children off. But of course, in all the schools, it was really wonderful. But at St. Michael's, they were really prepared. All the families had little signs or posters saying welcome.
So nice.
And it really was a lot of fun.
Is so nice. Bishop, as a bishop, you go into a diocese. What are your goals? I mean, what do you see as, what would you like to do in a diocese? Or I would imagine any bishop, but...
I would say any bishop would be excited about evangelization, excited about just announcing the gospel and living it with a great deal of joy and excitement. Now, for me particularly, being in Columbus with there are so many things already started. It's for me, it's to let those continue and really encourage that. So whether it be the presence of the sisters in our schools and building up a beautiful culture in our Catholic schools, we want to be able to do that. Many of our young people identify themselves as missionaries. That's new for me, and you're familiar with some of the life in Columbus through the Damascus retreats, and so the kids, the middle school children and the teenagers in high school have a very good experience. But the camp counselors, they call themselves missionaries, and they really are. They really are missionaries. Tell us about that.
I'm sure that there are people all over the United States who would love to send their children to the camp.
Well, it's a high adventure kind of a camp. There's a lake. There's some kind of a contraption where they jump off of one thing and bounce off and then into the lake, and it's all of that. The high ropes, the climbing. They have all kinds of fun, but they grow in their friendship with Jesus Christ, and that is the primary focus of the experience. That at the end of the week, children will have grown, and they do. You hear their testimonies. They love the Eucharist. They love adoration. They love coming to Holy Mass. But they've also they become more articulate in expressing their friendship with Jesus Christ, and that I find so inspiring. But the missionaries work. There are some who work just for the summer as counselors, but there are a number who work through the year, and they're well-formed, and they're very excited, again, joyful and enthusiastic in living out the faith. Isn't that what we need, Mother? Joy. I always say joy. Right, joyful, credible witnesses of Jesus Christ. The other thing is we have so many good, again, missionaries working on our college campuses. We have Ohio State, and we have the Paulist Fathers are there, but so is Focus Missionaries. They've just begun their St. Paul outreach. There's another group called Young Catholic Professionals.
Yes.
These are young people in their 20s and 30s. They're working in the world, secular jobs, and they meet regularly for social and for prayer. And they too, again, that joy in living the faith. So the Palatine Fathers had come in, and the parish that they're in is just exploding with devotional life with the young adults. So, and then people of all ages. Those are some of the stories I can tell. But if I go around from parish to parish, you just meet wonderful people who love the Lord and want to live the faith.
Right. Well, I guess we have a special interest in Ohio because Dominicans, that is the home of Dominicans.
It is.
And it's excited not long ago they had a cloistered Dominican community to come into the diocese.
Indeed, the cloistered nuns, they were formerly in Buffalo. The city, they were founded there 100 years ago when it was a piece of country patch. And it's a little different now. So they knew they needed to relocate. But with the presence of the Dominican friars and so many of those Dominican roots, they're living in a retreat house right now, but they'll be building a monastery and establishing a presence. What a blessing for us in the diocese.
That is wonderful.
A powerhouse of prayer.
Yeah. Well, Bishop, I'd like to go back just a number of years, not too many though, but to think, you said you were born in the Bronx.
Yes.
I was with the Sisters of Life in the Bronx.
Oh, okay.
In Throgs Neck. But anyway, what was it like of your family life, or when did you think that you had a priestly vocation?
Well, I have to tell you, I don't know that I ever told you this, but the Dominican sisters had a great impact on my life. And
good to know that.
Yes, indeed.
Where were they from?
They were from Amityville.
Oh, yeah, they're on Long Island.
They're Long Island. And so, but back in 1968, we moved to Long Island. I was in the Parkchester section of the Bronx, by the way.
Oh, okay.
And we moved to Long Island. I'll tell you a funny story. I had gone to St. Raymond's for kindergarten and first grade in the Bronx.
Oh, yes.
And then we moved to Long Island. And at that time, the idea of getting into a Catholic school was nearly impossible. Long Island was just exploding. Right. And I did terribly in first grade. I couldn't adjust. I said, they don't stand in a line and nobody gets up when somebody walks in the room. It was so far and going to the public school that my parents, when I went for the religion class on Saturdays, my parents approached the sisters and the sisters said, we'll find a place.
Oh, was that providential?
Yeah.
So you then, from then on...
No, I went, and my 2 brothers and 2 sisters, we all went through Our Lady Perpetual Help School. And between the sisters there at the school and the priests in the parish, they just loved doing what they were doing so much. They had such a profound impression in my life. They really did. And that's that's why I guess joy is so important to me as a charism of living the faith, because if it's authentic, if you really enjoy what you're doing, if that love of God is touching your life, then it is going to show. And I could see it. And it was real. And I said, I could do that, and I'd like to do that.
That's wonderful. Did you go to Dunwoody for the seminary?
I did not. At the time, okay. Mother, we had a seminary on Long Island.
Oh.
Immaculate Seminary of the Immaculate Conception. It was shared by the Diocese of Brooklyn and the Diocese of Rockville Center.
I see.
In the last few years, maybe 7 years ago, the 3 dioceses came together to form a partnership, and so now they all go to Dunwoody. But in my day, we were still going to Immaculate Conception.
That is wonderful. Isn't it beautiful to think how God works in families and in individuals? And
indeed,
we've got to do everything we can to bring young men to their vocation to the priesthood.
That's right.
I mean, what a wonderful thing. But that's the reason that is so important, the Catholic schools, because in religious, I think religious can have a lot to do with fostering.
And if I may say, I'm just thrilled. You mentioned the cloistered Dominican nuns, yes. And you mentioned, and we spoke about St. Michael's, the Dominican sisters said St. Michael's, but I'm seeing just an explosion of religious life. And we all have our mutual friend, Father Stash Daly.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And we have we do have some wonderful religious in the Diocese of Columbus.
That's great.
And I just anticipate some great things happening from the diocese.
Right. You know, if I were a bishop, which I'll never be a bishop, but if I were a bishop, I think the very first thing I would do would get in a cloistered community, to pray for the diocese, pray for the needs of the people. But Bishop, I just wanted to take this time just to thank you. Of course, I'm very grateful how good you are to the sisters, but what you're trying to do, Sister John Paul keeps me informed of all you're doing.
Sure she does.
She's your fan club. I mean, she's your fan club. So, it's wonderful.
We love the sisters.
We're truly grateful. And so God bless you. And we just wish and we do pray for bishops. I pray for bishops.
Thank you.
Daily,
we need them. We need those prayers.
Will you pray for us too?
I do. I do.
Well, listen, thanks. It's such an honor to have you, and
thank you.
God bless you in your work, and I'll be down to see you.
I hope so.
And let you know if the sisters aren't behaving themselves.
Oh, okay. You hear that, sisters?
Be glad to come and check on them. Well, God bless you.
You're always welcome. God bless you. Thank you, Mother.
Thank you.